What do you think is the most important decision? Now, we spoke about the laws in Texas, and I really appreciate that. And we also spoke about the legal status, which is current in the state of Texas. And thanks to you and some of your partners and colleagues, you were able to enhance this rule of 679, which is very, very beneficial to the doctors. What do you think is the most important decision? If a chiropractor, let's talk from a practice standpoint over here, if a chiropractor wanted to integrate his practice, what would you think would be the most important decision? What would they have to do? What would they have to prepare? How would they go forward with that?
Wow, that's a tough question because there's just so many things that you have to consider before you integrate your practice. Yeah. And actually, I put together a legal handbook for Texas doctors looking to integrate, and I give it out to people all the time because I found it just difficult in one sitting to really answer all the questions that somebody might have. So I guess the long answer would be if somebody wanted to email me, I could give them that handbook. But in terms of just if I had to pick out one thing, I would say you need to form your team very carefully. So when I say team, I'm talking about your consultants, your guides, and really there are two people that I would say are most important. The first would be the consultant that you hire, and I do recommend that my clients hire a consultant because I think for most people, when you choose to integrate your chiropractic practice, you're really setting off on a path that is probably pretty unfamiliar, and a good guide can save you a lot of time and expense. And so I've just had my clients that work for the consultant have a lot more success than those that tried to do it on their own. So I think choosing a consultant is important. I think choosing a lawyer obviously is important. And of course, I'm biased, but I've just had so many clients that at one time or another, had maybe an attorney advising them from a state where they're not practicing. And as we discussed, these laws vary wildly from state to state. So something that might be perfectly legal in, let's say, Florida could get you sent to jail in Texas. And that's not what we want. So you need to choose your team very carefully in terms of your consultants and your legal advisors. Beyond that, I'd say the biggest sort of practical decision that a doctor would make would be choosing their medical director, so their physician co-owner in Texas, that person that you're going to partner with to collaborate with. Choosing that person is really important because it's just kind of like a marriage. If you want to make sure you choose right the first time because it's difficult to unwind it if you make the wrong choice. You want somebody that's ethical, somebody who shares your vision for what you're trying to do in your practice and agrees with the modalities that you want to implement and those sorts of things. So I'd say that's probably the most critical decision. But actually, Doc, I'd be curious to know what you think about that because you work with a lot of integrated practices on a very practical level. I mean, what do you think is the most important thing?
Yeah, I definitely, of course, I am also biased, as you are about the legal team. I am biased about consultants because when you think about it, it is a new entity. Everything changes. There's a lot of codes, a lot of developments, protocols, systems, management, the flow of patients and the recommendation of sending one patient from one entity to another, and how do you co-treat while there are two separate practitioners. It's a lot of issues. So I agree with you that choosing a consultant is something which is absolutely necessary. Unequivocally, we know nationwide that the doctors who have hired consultants who have worked with a consulting firm do a lot better, a lot faster, and get in less trouble. There's no question, however, before choosing a consultant, I agree, and that is to be determined by all costs, at all costs, literally, irrespective of the direction, to choose an attorney, a qualified expert attorney who understands the system, who knows what the rules are on the state and federal level, because there are multiple contractual agreements that are formed between all the parties, and everybody has to know exactly what they're doing. Another thing I think that's important in the legal, since you mentioned that, and that is that once you know that legally you're allowed to do what you're doing, so the various regulatory bodies, let's say the chiropractic board, the medical board, whatever board we work with, and all these entities, you're able to practice peacefully. you have your mind set saying, you know what, I've done everything I can. My attorney is an expert, and in this case, you've written, co-written the law. So I would feel comfortable knowing that I have legal backing and I have an opinion which is based on sound research, and that I can move forward. So I agree with you. Of course, there are many other aspects of the practice, but I definitely agree with you that those two components, the legal and the consulting fee, or at least the consulting firm, but at least a guide, a mentor, somebody that can help the doctor would be beneficial. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell to get my latest update.